We know that the movie business is certainly one that can earn quite the pretty penny. Most movie buffs probably have their favorite director, and maybe even have ones they're not so crazy about. While you probably know that famous actors have millions to their name, do you know how much directors earn from actually creating the movie? Well, now you can. Here are the 10 richest directors of all time, and how much they're actually worth after directing some of your favorite flicks. Sorry, film lovers, but neither Scorsese nor Tarantino made the cut. Number 10. Christopher Nolan, $200 million. Christopher Nolan takes the first spot on the list. This name likely sounds very familiar to you, as he has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards. In fact, he only has just over a dozen directing credits, which goes to show just how incredible he's done for himself. Of course, he's most well known for being the director of the Dark Knight series. Yes, that's the one with Christian Bale. Nolan also recently directed Interstellar and Dunkirk, which were both huge Oscar contenders. He also is the mastermind behind Inception. Obviously, some of your favorite flicks are because of this guy, and it's probably not shocking his net worth is what it is. Number 9. Roland Emmerich, $200 million. This is probably the only name on the list that you might not recognize at first glance, but you certainly know his work. This is the man that brought you Stargate, Independence Day, Godzilla, The Patriot, and The Day After Tomorrow. We know you're wondering why you don't know his name. Most recently though, he was behind White House Down and Midway. He has 3 movies in production, so it's time to start re-watching these amazing flicks. Number 8. Francis Ford Coppola, $300 million. This is a director who a lot of film buffs worship the ground he walks on. With a whopping net worth of $300 million, this man brought us the Godfather series, which is obviously his most famous work. He has also directed Apocalypse Now and The Outsiders. If you're wondering why he has so much money, it's because these movies did well, and he's also a prominent producer in Hollywood. Now you know where the money's at, right? Number 7. Clint Eastwood, $375 million. Obviously, this net worth is both from his incredible acting and directing. Clint Eastwood is probably the only one on this list that is equally well known for acting. However, he's done well in directing and usually gives himself the lead role. With 4 Oscar wins, he's directed over 40 flicks. You know most of them, but he won his awards for Million Dollar Baby, Unforgiven, and was nominated for Mystic River and American Sniper. He's still going pretty strong, and he's recently released some pretty popular films. We know you have your favorite Eastwood movie. Number 6. Ridley Scott, $400 million. Ridley Scott is super underrated, and he's also made most of his dough from producing a lot of movies. He has 4 Oscar nominations to his credit, 3 for directing, which include Black Hawk Down, Gladiator, and Thelma and Louise. Most recently though, we're betting you'd know The Martian and Prometheus. Don't worry though, because he's got like 6 other things in production right now. Honestly, if you didn't know his man's name before, we hope you remember it now. Number 5. Michael Bay, $430 million. Michael Bay is your go-to action director. You probably know him best from directing the Transformers franchise. Of course, all action movies are usually high-grossing, which explains why he's worth so much. If you're not an alien robot fan, you've most likely seen Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, or The Island. He also has some action comedies for the more lighthearted. Of course, this net worth is nothing to be mad about, even if he has no Academy Award nominations. Number 4. Peter Jackson, $500 million. Every nerd ever knows the name Peter Jackson, right? This is the man, the myth, and the legend behind The Lord of the Rings. Clearly, he's made a few bucks from this franchise. He's even won an Oscar for this series. However, if you don't love elves and hobbits, he also directed King Kong and The Lonely Bones. However, he's literally mostly done Hobbit-related things. That's a pretty hefty net worth considering, but we're not exactly surprised. Number 3. James Cameron, $700 million. James Cameron is a legend in Hollywood and has an Oscar to show for his directing career. You guessed it, he won it for Titanic in 1998. While this movie probably accounted for a whole ton of that net worth, $700 million is quite a lot. He actually only has about 20 directing credits though, and another one is Avatar. Yeah, that's basically like $700 million worth in those 2 movies, right? This guy clearly knows what he's doing, and he's pretty brilliant at it. Number 2. Steven Spielberg, $3.7 billion. Hollywood probably wouldn't be Hollywood without this director. He's produced almost 200 films and is the director behind 60. He has quite the career and has 2 Oscars for directing, for Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List. Yes, those may just be your 2 favorite movies ever, and it's safe to say you love Steven Spielberg. He's still going strong, but he also directed E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the Indiana Jones series, and Jurassic Park. No wonder he has $3.7 billion. Number 1. George Lucas, $6.5 billion. George Lucas is a name known to all Star Wars fans. He has 2 nominations for directing, but all we really care about is that he's the mastermind behind the best sci-fi series ever, right? He's a really popular writer, but his directing certainly pays his bills. He's directed the original Star Wars and all the prequel trilogy. That is all you seriously need to know about his filmography. That's clearly enough to earn $6.5 billion because he hasn't really done much else. If you love him, the only other actual film he's directed is American Graffiti, which is also Oscar nominated. Or you can just go binge the Star Wars series for the 50th time.